Good morning and welcome once again to the group exhibit Hydrogen Fuel Cells and Batteries at the Hanover Fair 2016. My name is Christine. I'll be your moderator for this session, which is entitled Market Design for Green Hydrogen. With me today, I have Werner Diwald, who is the chairman of the Deutscher Wasserstoff and Brennstoffzellen-Verband, which is the German Hydrogen and Fuel Cell Association. Please come in and sit down. If you have questions at any time, raise your hand and I'll come around so that you can join the discussion. Drinks are on the house and make yourself comfortable. Please join me in welcoming Werner Diwald to the stage. Welcome.
Welcome.
So could you please start by giving a brief introduction to your association, what you do, who your members are?
I think it's very shortly, very easy. We try to promote hydrogen as a fuel for the mobility and the fuel cell cars for efficiency mobility. And for that we do everything, especially we try to influence or to consult more the politicians to get better regulations for that. I hope that was very diplomatically. And of course, then we try to make a little bit of disseminations for to teachings in schools, to give some presentation materials, so that the people, the public, who is not really so involved in the business, learn very early what is hydrogen. It's not dangerous. You can drive with it. It is without greenhouse emissions, so it's very clean. There comes only steam out of the exhaust system, so no noise. I think that is very important, but it's not only for children. I think it's for adults also, and especially for politicals. It's new, it's complicated.
If I was being cheeky, I would ask you if it was easier to educate the children, educate the politicians. We'll skip that question. So you represent industry players?
Yes, industry and private persons who are interested, but that is most persons who work in industry company which is involved in hydrogen, or that they are now retired.
Okay, great. So let's speak about hydrogen mobility. So we've heard a lot this week about hydrogen fuel cell vehicles, about the gas network and the infrastructure. So it seems like technologically we may be close to there's fuel cell vehicles are designed. In a lot of cases the infrastructure exists. There's refueling stations. So what's stopping the market from taking off?
From the technical side, I think nothing. We can start tomorrow. That's not really, of course, this infrastructure. We have to build the filling stations. They are not enough. It's not really comfortable to drive a fuel cell car. You need a good map, a good route planning before. But I think that is not really a challenge. It's we see what happens. We see Berlin especially. For 20 years there was nothing in the middle of Berlin, and now there's a new city. So I think that is not really a challenge. If you want to do it, I think in 2 years, 3 years, it will be possible to drive with a fuel cell car very comfortable through Germany. But of course, that is not black or white. We have existing infrastructure, existing cars, 40 million cars who are sold, who drives by people who owned. Everybody is very happy with his car, and each weekend he clean it and so on. And so they want to drive the next 10 years, 20 years these cars. And of course the companies have spent a lot of money to develop this great cars. It's really technology well developed. And so and now we want to change the complete system. I think that is the challenge, and that is the discussion. We have to find step-by-step solutions, how we can move in a in my view, in a better world.
So there's a lot of inertia staying with the current status quo. So how do you motivate change? So, for example, money is one way. It would be a lot of risk for industries already invested so much in developing this technology. How do you get industry to keep putting money into this scenario? They have to get money back at some point.
I think, in my view, it's a two-way strategy. We need, of course, subsidies, we need some regulations, we need some motivation for development to spend money in the future, for the future. It's not waste money, it's investment for the future. And on the other side, I think we need very soon some business models for some stakeholders of this business. And I think that is really the challenge, to find where we can find very, very soon a business model. And so that is the reason why we share a little bit. We have the fuels. So hydrogen is not fuel cell cars. It's a fuel, and it's an efficiency using of fuels. And so perhaps we find very soon for one of these parts a solution to make business, to make money. That is the target of a company, to make money. Profit.
It turns out, yeah. So you mentioned regulations. Let's come back to that. So are there any regulations currently in place supporting
Not really in place. No. We have a cover now from the European Union, and there are a lot of directives and announcements. Yes, we want to make a better world. 2050, we want to reduce 80% the greenhouse emissions in the traffic. So everybody knows to look a little bit deeper inside. That means all land use cars must have a zero emission, so 100% reduction. And everybody knows, it's clear, it's on the hand. You can do it only with electrical driven cars. So, but that is not a regulation that motivates so hard that you have to do it. It's nice. So the European Union starts a little bit, step by step, say, okay, we have to reduce the greenhouse emission in the traffic, 6% until 2020 or to 2020, and we have to feed in 10% of green energy, renewable energy in the mobility sector. Okay, and so the national member states have now to make a really hard regulation that will be happened. This will be happened. And I think, yeah, on this point we are now. We wait for the right regulations.
So what roles do regulations play in creating a business model for industry?
Yeah, I think we have the opinion, and I'm really sure that the possibility is really for the fuels. We see in the refineries they have to reduce the greenhouse emission 6%. Now we have over Europe around 3%, 3.2%. reduction, so double. That is a lot. And on the other side, we see this discussion with the biofuels, ELOC discussion, indirect land use change. That is really a problem. So we need other solutions. And on the other side, we see more and more. We have more and more volatility, renewable energy in the market, so from wind and PV, and that is a problem for the grid system, for the electricity system. And if we bring both together, I'm sure we can solve a lot of problems. We use the green electricity to produce green fuels. And refinery use a lot of hydrogen to produce modern diesel products. And if they can make an offset with green hydrogen, or it's allowed, and for the calculation for the greenhouse reductions, then they will be happy. And I think for that we need regulation that is allowed it, or that they can do it, they can calculate it on the reductions. Then we have really a business model. It works. We can really challenge can compare the prices, reduction price with biofuels and the reduction price with green hydrogen from wind power.
So the regulations provide a framework of how to quantify green hydrogen production so that you can compare it to other fuel types and you can put numbers to the hydrogen that you're producing. So this is how you monetize that is your business model. It's reducing the emissions. You monetize reducing emissions.
Yes.
Okay. So it's not a credit or anything. It's just a framework of how to calculate how many emissions you're reducing when you produce hydrogen.
Yeah, and it's really a market business model without subsidies, and so I think that is a good message, because that is really market. That means for the electrolyzer companies, there is a possibility to sell not only one demonstration project. It's fine, but they can really get scale effects, because we calculated it. We make only 0.5% of the reduction from the greenhouse emissions. That means for Germany 1,500 megawatt capacity for electrolyzers. That means for the European around 15 gigawatt electrolyzer capacity. That is really a number for the electrolyzer companies. Say, okay, for that we can calculate, we can really produce a lot of electrolyzer, we get economic scale effects, and so that is really business. That is really means industrial development.
Okay, so the regulation gives the framework for calculating the emissions reduction so that there can be an open market to play on.
Yeah.
What status what's the status of these regulations? Are they they're already written? They're in application?
That is the problem. I think it's for the for the member states very, very new, this solution. The problem with electricity, the green electricity, renewable electricity, is not new, but they wait a long time and suddenly the problem is there. And that comes now together. And so the regulations are not ready, the drafts are not ready, but I think that is the job of an association, to bring it in the mindset of the people, that they start to think for these solutions. And this step we have arrived. So we see that the opinion changed, the possibility, they understand the possibility, and they are open to discuss how we can regulate it. So I think it needs 12, 18 months, additional months that we get in regulation. But all the first steps are ready. The European laws are very important because it's cover. We have to fulfill every time the European regulations. It's not free for the member states to say, okay, that is great, we do it. But the European Union said, no, we are not ready. That is ready since 8 months now. The possibility is there that we can use green hydrogen, it's called their renewable fuels and gasolines from not biologic origin, that is green hydrogen. You can use it to reduce or to calculate your reduction for greenhouse emissions. And so all the member states have now to react on this. And of course that is a long discussion, but we get a good feeling, we get a good response from the politicals. That is a good idea. We like it, and we are open to promote the regulations, to do it, and they ask for drafts. And so I think that is really, in my view, the best message for this fair, that we are really very close for a great, huge market for one part of the business, okay, the electrolyzers, but on the other side, I think that is a sign for the public and for the industry. We bring hydrogen in the market, we bring hydrogen in the mobility, we link renewable energy sector with the mobility sector. And so I think that is a chance to change the opinion in the public and get more and more support from the public, more pressure to the politics. So it's not only a one-way road, we need a lot of effects that we happen the right results.
So the regulations in the EU exist to make it possible in the last 8 months, but now it's up to you're trying to change an entire culture within Germany in order to push the regulatory framework that you need to create a business model through.
Yeah.
I don't envy you that task. That seems like a hard job.
But the first 100 meter we have reached.
Yeah.
So it's 900 meter open, but the condition is very well, especially in our association. So I'm sure we will reach the target. We will come in the goal, and in the end, I think it will goes in the right direction. Because on the other side, especially my focus, and that is a big difference. If you look in the past, there was some engineers who developed great fuel cell cars, but the drivers was more from technology development. Now we get really the pressure from the renewable electricity market. We want to change the electricity market. We have decided, and not only Germany decided, all the European countries decided. And if you look back to COP21 in Paris, the world had decided. We goes in an electricity green world. And that is only possible if we make a sector coupling with mobility, with heating, and then you can research all the possibilities how you can couple the mobility sector and the electricity sector. Of course, there are some battery cars. We have seen yesterday in Germany they decide to give some subsidies for the cars. But you have looked really deep inside. It's only possible with hydrogen. It doesn't work with battery. It's not possible. We discuss not only about 1 megawatt, we discuss 100 gigawatt hours, and we have to transfer it in the different sectors, so that's very difficult.
Yeah, it's tough to get a full consensus, a full vision of what it looks like. There's so many different technologies, and they all need to work together. So getting not only the technological solutions, but the political will and understanding of what needs to happen is a tough job to do. What do you think Germany will come to that solution first compared to other EU nations? And if so, why would Germany be leading?
I hope, I don't know exactly, but I hope that Germany will be the first member states in the European. And I think the reason is that we have the most capacity of renewable energy or electricity in the market. Last year, we switched off 1 terawatt hour of green wind power. That means 1 billion euros are lost. And so this problem will be not lower in the next year, it will be increased more and more. We get now a lot of offshore capacity in the additional too. And so we have to find very, very soon a solution for that. And that is really our economic ministry tried to solve the problem, and they give every time the solutions new names. That is, okay, it's a nice idea, but it doesn't help. It's help only to link it to the mobility. There's the same consumption like in the electricity market. So it's in both markets around 700 terawatt hours. And it helps really to link it, to solve the problem. So it solved a lot of problems in the electricity sector. We have a flexible opportunity on the mobility sector. So if the wind is blowing very, very well, then we can produce hydrogen. If the wind is very low, we don't produce hydrogen. We get a flexibility opportunity, and I think that is the reason why hydrogen will become, and I think that is the reason why it comes first in Germany, because the problems are in the moment here the biggest one in Europe. And if they see the other countries that it works, that it's economic, that not means more costs for the customers, not more costs for the industry, I think all the other European countries will follow. It makes sense.
It makes sense to me. I'd like to open up the floor to questions at this time.
Thank you. Good morning, Werner. Bertrand Hamelot, McPhee Energy. So one comment and two questions. First of all, I really like your vision and concept of bringing renewable electricity, thank you, to the conventional fuel. It brings two benefits, bringing a new market to electricity and reduce the CO2. So it's very nice, perfect. So I have two questions. Okay. How can we we cannot wait only for regulation, so how can we accelerate and make experimentation? And second, so who will be the oil company ready to innovate and push and be proactive?
I think all the oil companies, are really the most important oil companies are ready to do it. They wait, in my information, they wait only for the regulation to say, okay, if the business model is there, or the draft is on the table, officially draft is on the table, then we start really with detail engineering, make the applications for the permissions, and we go. They decided to do it. They wait only for the decision and say, okay, it makes only sense. If the regulators say you can calculate it, the hydrogen on the reductions, then we go in the business. And some of these oil companies are a little bit more in front. The other one are a little bit more careful. So some of them start, or some, there are not so many oil companies, but one of them start really detail design for a project. But the decision for investment is really depending on, in my opinion, on the draft of the regulation.
Thank you. I think that's all the time we have at the moment. I apologize. If you would like to speak more to Werner Diwald, he is at booth E63, just over here. Please do follow him and continue the conversation. Thank you so much for joining me today.
I have to thank to give us the chance to bring our idea here on the table. Thank you. Thanks.
Please do stick around. Just in one quick minute, we have from Mfield Energy, we have a talk entitled From Innovation to Marketing, Taiwan's Eco Power Station. We have the Deputy Director of GTPO, Li Chi-Wai Wen. Thank you.